As Volkswagens go, this is a pretty small one, but so often when I'm reviewing electric vehicles on this channel, people say, when will there be EVs that normal people can afford? Well, I think this is possibly one of those normal people cars. Nothing to do with your man in his GAA shorts. So it's €28,000. It's fully electric. Obviously the Up has been around for over a decade, but this is an E-Up. E-Up, Chuck. Hello if you're watching in the UK. Sorry about my accent. This will do somewhere around 200 kilometers of range if you're driving on a motorway for sustained periods, or maybe 300 kilometers if you're taking it easy and you've got the aircon turned off, because it does have aircon. It has kind of automatic air conditioning. It's just over 3.5 meters long. It's just under 1.5 meters tall, and it's not that wide, and you can park it anywhere. And I'm wondering, is this one of the best little EV city cars you can buy? So we've got halogen lights on the front of the vehicle. However, these are LED daytime running lights. You've got a blue strip along the front, similar to the e-Golf. You've got upgraded alloy wheels in this car and different paint, and that's it. Nothing else is an optional extra. Got a lovely little side profile. In fact, I've deliberately left that manhole, or I should probably call that person hole now, here, because that takes up the entire front wing of the car. If there was a few more of them, this thing could disappear down into it. You've got a two-tone roof, so black here, black on the mirror housing, aimed at young people, cool. You take 4 steps and you're at the back of the car. So it really is small and neat. It's got little pop-out windows for rear passengers. How long since you've seen them? In fact, I had to explain to a 5-year-old how they work yesterday. That was interesting. I love the little stubby aerial on it. Years ago, you'd buy stubby aerials for Volkswagens and add them on yourself. Then around the back, you've got more blue here to tell the world that this is electric. I love this part. This is all glass, right? So it's light and black and tinted, and it's cool. It opens up a 250-litre boot. Told you it was small, told you it was cute. Your cables will tuck down in here because there's nowhere else to put them. There's no frunk, none of that fanciness. Exposed metal in the boot, tiny little parcel shelf. But if you are single or there's just 2 of you, you get taxis to the airport or whatever, or God forbid if we had some sort of rail system, you wouldn't need that boot for suitcases, but you'd get a bit of shopping into it, you know. It's small, that's the whole point. It's a little tiny city car. And we need more of these if people are to go EV. I don't have any major issues with how wide the door is open, because they actually open quite wide. And this seat is set up for my driving position. Not massively tall, and it's quite tight. Comparing it to something like the Toyota Aygo, there's probably more room in the back of this, but then the boot in the Aygo is a little bit bigger. You can have the adjustable headrests. There's nothing to plug into, nothing to charge into. There's no center armrest, but the height for your headspace is actually okay. It's all right, like. You wouldn't be 6'5" in the back of this, because you probably wouldn't fit knee-wise, but head-wise, you'd be similar. And as I mentioned, you've got to push those windows out, but the windows sit lovely and low, so they're actually quite big. You've got huge visibility if you're a child in the back of this car, and that's a good thing. Front of the E-Up steering wheel is what we've come to know in the Mark 7 Golf. Similar dials in the front of the E-Up to the e-Golf, that you can still buy. It's simple, there's needles, but it's actually a decent enough multi-function display which tells you your range, average, what else is on there? Well, there's something that's open, speed warnings, average speed. So that's pretty good. But here's something that's even better. So there's an app for the E-Up, particularly for this model, because this screen is particularly small. It's like the smallest reversing camera I've ever seen. But you can sync up an app, which connected first time for me. You stick your phone in here. You can have your nav. It'll tell you how much range is in the car. You can precondition it. You can set how much charge you want to go into the car. Like, it's pretty intuitive actually, and it just works. There's also a jack port, an auxiliary input here, if you'd like to plug in a phone directly. One thing I can't manage to find are some chargers though. There's no inputs for a phone. from what I can see, unless I'm blind, please do comment below. Looks like there's a slot there for an SD card, but I think that's just design. Glove box is tiny. And you've got ambient lighting that runs through here at night time in blue. Looks pretty nice actually. And I like the little finish. So it's E up on the dash, little quirky air vents. It's got cruise control, not radar guided, but it's got cruise control. And a bit of storage down here. And then there's an Eco and Eco Plus mode that you can really squeeze every little last kilometre out of the range of the car, should you wish. It is climate control, because it's just not as fancy looking, but it's got heated seats and a heated windscreen on frosty days. You can just sort it out, and also you can sort it out by just preconditioning the car before you go out to it. So squeeze a lot in, I think, into 28,000 euros. It's a very, very small car, don't get me wrong, but I like the little quirkiness of these things, and they've kind of got around the fact that this isn't a massive screen by putting in a half decent app. Oh, and you started with a key, even though it's electric. So when you try and reverse this, do a 3-point turn, anything like that, you appreciate how small and maneuverable it is. That's brilliant. So even though the little tiny camera, the world's smallest camera, is there, there's kind of enough visibility anyway, just using your old school eyeballs. So it's not harsh over bumps, it's really, really quiet. It's got a great little turn and circle. I mean, it's priced exactly the same as the Honda E, which is a more technologically advanced car. It's not newer design. You know, this was never intended to be a ground up, or this was never to be an EV from the start. So, you know, it hasn't got the same design and, you know, charging. It'll do 35 kilowatt charging speed, which is obviously quite slow. And on the other hand, like, you don't really need to be clogging up fast chargers with it. I mean, it will take DC charging via CCS, that's fine. It'll do 7 kilowatts on a wall box at home. It won't take you that long to charge because it's got such a small battery. The lovely little wheels on it means, you know, even driving over a ramp is no major inconvenience. It's only got 82 brake horsepower. But you wouldn't know. Like, you put it down and that electric torque is there and kind of shifts you. You've got a B mode on the gear shifter for regen braking. It doesn't give you one pedal, but it's not, there's a bit of resistance in it, all right. You certainly wouldn't be using the brakes half as much as if you were in a normal car. You know, like, you've got exposed metal here. They've kind of made a kind of a fun thing out of it, though, the way it's at least the same colour as the exterior. And, you know, things in this car are going to be cheap to replace, but because of the design, it's got a nice little low centre of gravity. It handles well. Now, if you turn and floor it at the same time, the traction light will come on, and this is in bone dry summer conditions. So you might get a little bit of slippiness going on in the wintertime, wet roads, stuff like that. Might ever so gently struggle to put the power down. But there's a BMW i3. That's a more premium EV, to be fair, but I just think small little electric cars work. And we need to get more people into electric cars if this whole thing is to take off. Because as much as sales are now at 17% in Ireland, great. There's still a lot of diesel and petrols being sold, and for different reasons. Some people for range. But if you can make, like, this car has the €5,000 grant included in the price. That's going to be €3,500 from July. They say the extra money will be going back into the public charging infrastructure. Maybe. Do you believe them? So, you know, this car, like all other EVs, will go up now in July. And that's kind of unfortunate, because even if all EVs under 35 grand still benefited from maximum grants or whatever, you'd get more people to get into them and consider them. The fact that this cool little city EV is now going to jump up in price, it's just gone the wrong way. And quite simply, the Irish government either want people to go electric or they don't. And penalising people that might be interested in a small EV like this and keep it for a few years and charge it efficiently and all that stuff. But then you go into a VW dealership or any car dealership in July and you'll be told, oh, that's not the same price anymore. It's a bit mad. Like, I love the pickup of it. like it's what is it? It's 1,200 kilos. It is not a heavy car. So, as I said, 82 brake horsepower. It doesn't feel like it. There's a lovely little level of urgency in it, and it's a fun car to drive. Now, you'd probably, if you were doing the M50 to work and back every day, you'd probably find yourself charging it every day and a half. If it's just a car that's going to the shops and the school run and whatever, like the kind of smaller journeys, then charge should last you a couple of days. It seems to be hovering around the 18 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and that's without me trying. I'm sure I'd get that down. Knock off the aircon and roll down the windows and get a sense of nature. So, a fun little yoke, lovely little thing to handle. It's think of it like an electric super mini. That's kind of what the e-up is all about. Because as long as an e-up stays under 30, what else can you buy for that money? Okay, MG4, bigger car. You'd have to consider it, you know. It's only a little bit extra. Faster charging, more space. Come on, will you? It's got a cute little Mr. Postman Pat horn, which is not going to intimidate anybody off the road. Even if the driver's in front, looking to go, the other lane, oh, will I go? Is it green? Is it green? Yes, it's been green for like 5 seconds. Oh, are you moving? Jesus! I've no patience with bad drivers. There we go, I'm already down to 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I told you could do it. Ooh, around the corner. Ooh. It's great fun. My daughter isn't 9 yet, and I said to her yesterday, you know, I could probably teach you how to drive this car in 5 minutes. She was like, can I? I was like, no. But I could. It feels like this would be the best car you could learn to drive in. So finally, there now is an EV. There have been a few now, in fairness, that you can get if you don't want to spend loads and loads of money. The compromise, however, is it's kind of old technology, it's old charging speeds, and you're compromising a lot on size because it's not a particularly big car. So I get that people will probably watch this and still go, yeah, I meant 28 that we can afford, that actually you can fit 4 people in and go away on holidays. I know. Look, I'm on the same page. I've just told you what I think of the government. But as a cool little run around that'll cost you nothing to run, it's a funky little thing. Here we go, onto the motorway, into a bend. Way! It's brilliant fun. I've never driven an Up GTI, but I'd bloody love to. If you got one, let me know. Let's go for a spin together. Thank you for watching. Here's my final thoughts on the e-up from Volkswagen. So hope you've enjoyed my no-nonsense little look around one of the cutest, smallest, and in some ways cleverest EVs that money can buy. I mean, it's a lot of money for the size of the car, but if you want to go electric with this 32 kilowatt hour usable battery, you'll charge it, even if you're not getting any night rates or any special split tariff things, you'll still charge it at home for 20 quid. So you can do it for less. Obviously, you've got solar, all those things, and find some free charging, whatever you can do. It's going to be a pretty cheap car to run. And if you don't need something huge, if you want something you can actually park. I mean, I know there's a lot of car bands coming into town and stuff like that. Why can't cars like this still exist in town? They're, you know, green, not massive, don't take up loads of space on the road, and you can kind of park them anywhere. So if you're looking for a first car and you want to go EV, or you're downsizing, you don't need an ID3, which is significantly more money, it could be something that you could take a look at. And just don't watch any Mr. Bean, and you'll never even have comments like that aimed at you. And if I can drive it and not feel silly, so can you. Anyway, thank you very much for coming this far with me in the video. If you'd like to support us, you can hit up buymeacoffee.com/NobbyOnCars, and I will talk to you in the next one.